What's up, people, and welcome to an update video where I look like a homeless person because I haven't shaved in like 6 months. Now that's out of the way. Uh, yeah, I don't know what I want to call this video. 40K update. What's going on with 40K? The 40K situation. I don't know. I'll figure out a title at some point. But this is just something that I've been thinking about, and there is nothing that I am excited for that Games Workshop is putting out except for Space Marine 2. That's it. I can't think of any books that I'm excited for. I can't think of any models that I'm excited for. I can't. There's nothing. And when that happens to an IP or franchise, that's never a good sign. It between all of the stuff that has happened over the last couple of years, between the book releases, between the culture war bullshit that has actually kind of died down for the most part. There's been the Custodes thing. That was the most recent one. You know, you had a bunch of people saying, "Oh, we're gonna boycott, and I'm not gonna buy anything, and this, that, and the other." I never said that I was going to boycott anything. Honestly, I haven't boycotted GW. I'm still gonna buy Space Marine 2. But there's, outside of maybe 2 books, there's been no hype for anything whatsoever. The latest thing that I can think of is the Kodiaz model, which looks like shit, and I think most people are in agreement that it looks like shit. There's no anticipation that there was, years back, where if there was a book release and you want to get up early and be sitting at your desktop or your phone or your laptop, whatever, sitting there just waiting to hit the buy button. The FOMO, which for those of you that don't know, that means fear of missing out, has completely disappeared for myself and a lot of the other hardcore people that I know of. And it's I don't see how they're going to bring it back. And, you'll have people that be like, "Oh, well, see, you're a tourist because you're not excited about their newest models or their newest, kits or whatever." No, that's not what that means. Being a fan means that you are able to call out a company on its bullshit and you will support them when they're doing well. You can still be a fan and think that a company is doing garbage work, right? And right now, I don't know how GW is going to recover from all of the major issues that they've had recently and in the past to get that back. Space Marine 2 might help by bringing in new people, but then again, you have that barrier of entry where a new person's going to go like, "Oh, well, I want to paint minis now." They're going to walk into a Games Workshop store and they're going to see the price tag and go, "Yeah, never mind. I get 3 minis for the price of the game I just bought." That's what's going to happen. And it sucks. Outside of official GW merchandise, which I guess pretty much all of this shit behind me is official GW merchandise, I'm more excited for the random shit, right? Like the ingots that I got there, or new pins that are coming out, small shit like that. Nothing coming straight out of GW where they're like, "You need to pre-order this right now or you're never going to see it again," type shit, right? At one point, I wanted that Morven Ball box set, the Mega Box that just came out not that long ago. But it's at the point where when you look at a $175 price tag on this box, that feels low effort on the part of GW compared to all their previous boxes. The desire isn't there. The want for it isn't there anymore. And it's one of those things where, as a company, and if I were in GW's shoes, I would have already noticed that this is a thing that's happening. And it's not just me. It's all across the fandom. Now you have the consumers that are just going to buy whatever slop GW puts out, regardless of what it is, and sit there and say how it's the greatest thing ever. Whereas you have the people that have been in the hobby forever looking at it and going, nah, this ain't it, right? And it's one of those catch-22 situations, I guess, because if GW continues on the path that they're going on now, they might gain that new audience that everybody keeps talking about, right? Or they could go back to the way they were doing things before identity politics and fucking culture war bullshit and this, that, and the other that has no bearing on the 40K setting whatsoever. They could go back to that model. And I think a lot of companies are starting to lean in the opposite direction, right? So they went this way, and now they're slowly starting to go this way, right? And for some franchises, that it's already too late. There's no coming back from it. But I don't think 40K is in that position yet, and I hope they're not in that position, because at the end of the day, I think most of us that are in the hobby, that are in the fandom, want Games Workshop to succeed. But we want them to succeed in a way that benefits us as the customer. When you start trying to appeal to one side of the aisle and not the entire aisle, then you get to the point where we're at. I've already said my reasons why I think we're at this spot. I mean, the female custodies thing had a lot to do with it. I think a lot of these Black library authors are starting to insert more and more of their politics into their writing, which is a very bad thing. The price hikes, that barrier of entry, that's a problem. I don't really know how they've addressed the scalper issue. Outside of the fact that I think scalpers got burned on the End of the Death Volume 3 because so many people were sick and tired of it that they just ended up sitting on them for so long that they lost interest. They realized that it's not the cash grab that they thought it was, and it bit them in the ass. But yeah, it's genuinely saddening that for so many of us, and at this point I'm just speaking for myself, it's gotten to the point where this hobby that we were fully invested in is just sort of meh, right? It's just sort of one of those things that it's like, all right, I can take it or leave it at this point. And you're still going to have certain YouTubers that all somehow look the fucking same, shilling for GW no matter what. And that's okay, because that's how they make their money. I've never been that way. I fully believe that companies should be called out for bad behavior or bad decisions, and hopefully they learn from them. And yeah, this is just my honest opinion. The hype is gone. The enthusiasm is gone. I was seeing posts all over social media prior to the Custodes thing of people painting minis and, talking about lore and, just enjoying the hobby for the most part. And now it's evaporated, right? And the only ones that I see trying to keep that hype up are the ones that are content creators or trying to be content creators. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to hype up something that I'm not excited for. You will see me excited when Space Marine 2 comes out, but that's because Space Marine 2 is a continuation of a game that got me into 40K in the first place. So, yeah, that's why you guys haven't seen very much 40K content coming from me. I wouldn't say that I'm burned out, because I'm not burned out. It's just that there's nothing there to be excited for. And even if they do release something that I might be excited for, or stuff that other people might be excited for, then it shows up, it sells out, and then it's never back in stock. And then people will sit there and point and be like, see, look, it's sold out. They're doing well. It's sold out. Yeah, it's sold out on the release day, and they haven't added any back. People are still waiting on Bretonnian Knights at this point. I mean, what the fuck, right? So, I think GW needs to take a good hard look, actual good hard look at the actual fandom, and not the people that are involved in all this culture war garbage, and figure out what they need to do to steer this ship back in the right direction. Like I said, Space Marine 2 might help a little bit, but if the problems aren't fixed, it's not going to matter. You know, the same thing with the Amazon series. If it ever gets off the ground and starts to get going, they're going to run into the same problem. You know, those two things can only do so much. And for those of us that are already in the fandom, it's not going to do anything as long as things continue the way they are. So, just a quick update on why you haven't seen any 40k content, and why I've been leaning more towards the political side of things, actual politics. And that's simply because that's vastly more interesting than anything that Games Workshop is doing right now. So, thanks for watching. Until next time, yeah. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something surprising and release like a, I don't know, a golden Space Marine figure or something. Who knows? We'll see.